really don't want to make this any kind of like lecture. So I'm going to make this fully interactive. Your mic should be on. Are you guys able to talk? Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
This is Virginia.
Hey, Virginia. Hey, Michael. Thanks for jumping on. So is everybody here a first-time user?
This is my second time.
It's your second time?
Yes. Just wanted to kind of get another review.
Got it. Well, a lot has changed, so probably good that you're jumping on. And Virginia, welcome. Thanks for jumping on for it today. I mean, a lot has changed over the last couple months. Michael, when was the last time you were using it?
Oh, I'm sorry. I've been using it for the last couple of weeks. Just, like I said, I just wanted to kind of get a review of, make sure I'm using it correctly, using the system correctly. Got it. Okay, cool. Yeah, there's a lot of things that we're going to go over, just best practices. Hopefully you guys have all seen the at least the onboarding video for how to use the system. Now this is going to be more of just like how to use SMS technology correctly, how to use SMS correctly. That's really going to be the goal of this call today. So anyway, without further ado, I'm going to get started. And in terms of just participation, if you guys have a question in the middle, let's say I'm going over something. If you have a question, just feel free to just ask a question. I mean, I really want to make this an interactive meeting. All right.
Okay.
Great. Okay. Great. All right. So when you're setting up the system, one of the goals here is really getting your messages through as much as possible. So one thing with Smarter Contacts, we have by far the best delivery rate in the industry because of the algorithm that we built into it. So I spent a lot of time building out the algorithm for Smarter Contact. That was a really important thing. And a big part of that is the phone numbers that you get. All you guys are going to be in different area codes. So if you're in Atlanta, it's 404. Cleveland, 216, I believe. Is that right? Am I accurate in those zip codes and area codes?
Right. Yeah, 216. Mm-hmm.
Damn, I'm good. I know all the area codes in America. Yeah, so you're going to want your area codes local to your market. So when you're sending out a blast to 1,000 people, it's very important that that blast comes from a local area code, because then it's just familiar. It's just really, it just has a local feel and a local touch to it. So I'm going to show you guys here. I'm going to share my screen. And while you're doing that, while I'm sharing this with you guys, at the end of this, I'm just going to go through the lists that we provide. We provide you guys some macros and some best practices documents. So Daniela is on the call. Daniela is our rock star customer success rep. She's a superstar, and she's going to be your go-to person for anything support. We have an intercom chat that you guys can use that is right here. So like if you guys, after this call, let's say you need help with a campaign, something's not working, just send us a message right here. Click this and type a message, and usually we'll get back to you within an hour. So, but for today, what I'd like you guys all to do, please, is to type your email address into the chat for all panelists and all the entire audience to see. The reason why is we have a document that provides the best scripts, the best macros, the best responses. I mean, this is like a cheat sheet for everything to use in Smarter Contact. So once you send that, Daniela will be able to send you guys an email with that document.
Yes, sure, I will. Thank you.
All right. Okay. All right, cool. So this is your main page. Once you're loaded in here, hopefully you've watched the product video. So I'm not going to go through product training today, but here in the phone setup, this is going to be where you're going to purchase your phone numbers. So you're going to just go in and say you want to buy a Cleveland area code. They're all here. You can purchase as many as you want. And the trick is here, well, of course, I got to put money in this account, but the trick is here is you have enough phone numbers for your campaign. So just remember that every blast sends out 200 texts per phone number. So if you have one phone number, it can only send out 200 messages. So if you, let's say, for example, you have a campaign with 1,000 phone numbers, you're going to need 5 phone numbers because it's 200, and then it's going to go to the next one and the next one and the next one and the next one. And the reason we do that is because you're sending out a lot of these texts, generally a little cold. So, you know, the phone carriers protect their consumers. This is a way to get around the phone carriers. We found this is very effective. So this is just kind of like a way to bypass to get your messages through. So just very important that you remember every 200 texts requires a new phone number. So just please remember that, and just know up front that you'll have to buy that many phone numbers. The numbers are $1 a month. So it's $1 each month that you own it. But it's a small price to pay because then you're getting your messages through to the carrier. All right. So another thing too is some of you guys might be in different markets, right? Some of you guys might be, let's say, in Cleveland, and then you have another market in, I don't know, Texas or something. And you have 2 different sets of numbers. What you can do is the system's going to really run from whatever the preset number is from the top to the bottom. So let's say you select this as your primary. So this is now your primary active outgoing. It's going to start from here, and it's going to go down. So it's going to start with this one, and then this one, and then this one. So that's just the way the system works, right? So it's important for you to set which is your primary phone number. And more so, it's really important because when you have where you're operating in different markets, let's say some of you guys are in 2 different markets, make sure you select the right area code, and then also put them in the right order, right? So what you can do is you can drag and drop. So let's say these were all, for example, 610, you'd want all the 610s together. Or in this example, 813s together. So here you go, 813, 813, 813, drag and drop them into the order so that it goes from the top to the bottom using the phone numbers. Does that make sense so far, guys?
Yeah, I got a question.
It does.
So
What does that S mean?
I guess there's 2 questions. I guess I'll answer the first one with the S. The S is a static phone number, and that is when you're basically what we designed it for is it's a number that doesn't rotate. So it is an exception to that number rotation rule. And it's great if you're using the system as a cash buyer blasting tool. So if you're using the system to send your deals to a cash buyer, that's the whole purpose of that.
Okay.
Yeah. So to kind of get into that a little bit, because it's a newer feature, and I'm really glad you asked that, because what it does is that number never rotates. So you're just going to maintain the same conversation with the same phone number at all times. So when you have a cash buyer blast, you can just send out your deals, you use the same phone number.
Question. So what about if you're marketing to 2 different markets? So is that an issue? How does that go about your, let's just say I have 500 leads from market A and then another 500 from market B. How do I do that, as far as the text message blast, when you said that it's going in order of the static numbers, I believe? Yeah.
Good question. Yeah. So when you have 2 different markets, it's just really important to remember that you're going to want 2 different area codes. That's really the key is using the area code for market A and then market B using the area code for that, and then organizing them in the right order. So for example, 813, that's my market, that's Tampa. So if I were to do a Tampa market, I would set this as my primary, which it is, and it's going to go from this one to this one. It's going to just go down using all the 813 phone numbers. Yeah. And then if I had a different market, you know, I would set the area code for that and then set the order. Just remembering that it's going to start with the check mark. The check marked one is always going to be the one that starts first, and then it's going to go down in that order.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yep. Trying to think if there's anything else here that we're going to cover. I mean, here you can see the lease periods of your phone numbers. So you can see, you know, how long it's active for and when it expires, that kind of thing. So just pretty helpful here. Yeah, so.
Adam, I have a question. What are the advantages having the static number? Let's say that I always want to use the static number.
Yeah,
what is the difference about having or not having?
Yeah, so the static number, just really try to get in the habit of using that. I would really get in the habit of using that for a really small targeted niche campaign. So let's say you have, you know, like a absentee owner tax default list or something where it's like 100 people or a couple hundred people, cash buyers. Because we want you guys to use this as a cash buyer blast system. I mean, think of it this way. You're already paying for the membership and you're already using it to acquire leads. We want you also to sell the deals on it too, because you already have it as an SMS blast system. And that's the purpose of this. So when you're selling your deal, use this feature because it's just more of like a smaller campaign, because you don't need the number rotation with a smaller campaign. You just need it with a larger campaign. So to answer your question, Daniela, the static campaign is just for really small targeted niche lists that you have. So, yeah, so if you guys have any more questions on that, I'm happy to answer that more in detail, but it's a pretty good feature and we really would encourage you guys to use it. What we find in wholesaling is now, like, I don't know if you guys use email blast to sell your deals, but even that is starting to lose attention. You know, even your cash buyers, they want to get a text. Hey, I've got a 3-2, you know, for $80,000 in this neighborhood. Like, they prefer to get a text as opposed to getting an email. So just as a heads up of kind of where things are transitioning. Great questions, by the way. Great questions. All right, so next, we're going to go through the list creation section. So when you're in the list creation, all right, it's got a bunch of test lists here. This is pretty straightforward. If you guys watched a tutorial video, this is how you okay, so once you set the headers here, this is obviously very important that you set the headers. Actually, uploaded the wrong test file, but typically you will have at least one phone number header. Typically you'll have 2, 3, 4, or 5 phone headers. But when you're doing that, let's see here, I have notes on the list. Yeah, it's important to just have at least one phone header. What we find is with these lists, like a lot of skip trace providers will give you a list with like 8 phone number records, and it's just crazy because one, your delivery rate's going to get really low. I mean, think of it like this, right? John Smith, let's say there's 8 associated phone numbers with John. There's a 1 in 8 chance that that's going to be the right phone number. So not only is your delivery rate going to go much lower because 7 of those numbers are guaranteed to be wrong. And also you're also going to have much more cost because you're getting charged, you know, for each message that goes out. So what we built is our own skip tracing service that's very advanced, very proprietary, built exactly for this by us. We chose the best out there. And what it's going to do is it's going to tell you which ones are mobile, which ones are landline. And generally, it's really going to give you about 3 to 5 phone numbers. So you're not wasting your time, you're not wasting your money, and you have a higher delivery rate. all the way through, and you're not texting landlines either, which is just huge, which is a really, really big thing. We're actually expecting to launch that here any day now. Probably by tomorrow, or end of tomorrow, we should have that ready. So just giving you guys a heads up, but yeah, you will want to tag the phone headers here and create your list. So
I have a question for you, Adam.
yeah.
Is there a way to suppress landlines if you like upload the whole list and it has like landlines and mobiles, you know, how it's in each column? Is it a way to suppress the landlines, or should we just take the landlines out before we upload?
I'm really glad you asked. Yeah. So we're basically building it in. So within ours, or within our skip tracing, it'll say, let's say you upload a list of 5,000 phone numbers, right? It'll tell you, okay, 3,000 are mobile, 2,000 are landline, and we'll suppress it out. We'll export it out. So you can export out the 3,000 mobile and then export the 2,000 mobile, or just push them in landline and then just push the mobile only into Smarter Contact. So we're going to have that functionality for our skip tracing service. But if you decided you want to use somebody else, or you already had a skip tracing service that you used, and you've already skipped that data, what we're going to start building soon, we already have the skip tracing that's like done. We'll be done probably by tomorrow. But then if you have your own, let's say you used a competitor or somebody else, we're gonna allow that. I mean, it's gonna be a cost because we get charged a cost by our carrier, but we'll just be passing on the cost. It'll probably be like a penny per search or something like that. But we will probably in the next 30 days or so, to answer your question.
Okay.
Yeah. So great question, guys. This is really good.
So you're saying right now, just go ahead and if we already have a list, go ahead and just move the landlines. That would be the best.
Yeah, for now, if you have the ability, because that feature, we're still building it. It could be, at least 30 days before like that feature is out. So if you bring your own skip trace data, where we're going to tell you if, which ones are landline or mobile, that could be a while. But if you have that data within your Excel file, that would be the best way to import it now. Okay. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So now going to campaigns. So, all right, campaign. So when you create a new campaign, you want to name it something unique. So let's say absentee owner. Select the list. You can upload as many lists as you want. So you have all these different lists here you can upload. And just keep in mind that, most times you're going to have, let's say you have 1,200 contacts, you're probably going to have a lot more phone numbers because each contact has usually 2-3 phone numbers on average. So just keep that in mind that it's going to have a lot more contacts than that. You're going to select the message. And then here, you're going to schedule it. So you have the ability to send them all at once. So let's say you have a campaign, and we don't suggest sending a big list at once, usually something small and manageable. But if you have, let's say 100 or 200, you could just blast it all at once. Or if you have a list of 1,000 or 2,000 or something much larger, you really want to chop it down into much smaller bite sizes, something where it's manageable for you to respond. And guys, the key here that we find is not volume. It's catered response. It's being able to, when somebody texts you back, being able to respond quickly and respond with the right thing to say. So scheduling it in the right way is going to be important. And then also setting it up where it goes out in tiers. So just kind of going back to what I was saying, let's say you had a list of 1,000. You could send 100 every 30 minutes, so it's not all at once, and you can manage the response. So you can do that here. You can do 100 every, say 30 minutes, or 100 every 1 hour. We're actually coming out with a feature that add on to this where it's going to just basically give you the 7 days of the week, and you can select any days of the week that it doesn't go out, you know, that kind of thing. Also run for a set period. This is cool because, you know, you really don't want to bother people at night. You don't want to bother people, you know, at 10 p.m. or something. So really setting the hours of the day where you know that you want your texts to go. So if it's 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. or 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., that's usually what we see is 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. That way, once 6 p.m. hits, no more messages go out. It's just going to stop, and then it's going to pick back up at the next start of the day that you have here. So just really important to keep the times of day in mind. Also, another thing.
I'm
sure.
sorry, Adam.
Yeah.
I have a question. Yeah. So I scheduled a campaign last week, you know, from 11 to 8, and unfortunately, the campaign ran after 8 p.m. and I got people that cussed me out. So I mean,
oh my God.
I was going to ask you guys about that. Yeah. So I spoke to Danielle about that, but I was, yeah, that I just kind of wanted to see what should we do in regards to that, because that was an issue.
We can take a look at your account after this call. So what I'll do is I'll take a look at it with you and Daniela later today, and we can figure out exactly what happened. And maybe it was a scheduling issue. I'm not really sure what could have caused it, but we can look at that together and look at your account after the call.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Yeah. You know, that's definitely something we really want to be caught, because people, you know, if they get a text at night, you know, if they get a text at 9 p.m., I mean, I'd be upset, you know. So I just, yeah, it's good to have those safeguards. And yeah, we're going to also add it in where, like, some people are asking for like Monday to Friday or just blocking off certain days. So we'll have that availability. Also keep in mind that some people are on West Coast time, some people are on East Coast. So for example, if you're on the East Coast and you're sending a campaign at 9 a.m., that might be 6 a.m. for somebody in California. So just keep in mind of those time changes as well. Okay, so another thing too, when you're creating your list, I probably should have went back here in the list screen, but when you're creating your list, I always recommend the following things. First, on your first campaign, so if anybody here is brand new, on your first campaign, send a list with just you. Put your first name, your last name, your address, and your own cell phone number, and just try it. See if you get a message, see how it works, see how it responds, just so you understand before you actually go live and try it with your customers. Number two is on every list that you upload, I always recommend putting your name at the top of the list. And even if you want to add on, at the bottom of the list too. And that way, you know for a fact that the messages went through, you know how it looked, you know kind of how it feels when they're being sent. So you've got a live pulse. So this is a good best practice that we found is on your Excel file or your CSV file, when you upload it, just put your first name, last name, and then your phone number at the top row and the bottom row. Just a great little tip to keep track of your list being set out. When you're creating your message here, so I'm going to go into this message creation screen here. So we have all types of different messages, right? So the ideal one is going to be something of this sort, and there's a million ways you can go. At something like that, right? So it's all text merch, and the key here, guys, is just be yourself, be fun, be like, have a personality, because when you're black and white with it, like when we are very robotic, you're gonna get put to the side. But when we've seen stuff work that's very creative, it's different. Here in your message screen, we really recommend having at least 5 different messages. So 5 separate messages that you can go through and just run your own tests. 1, it's better for the delivery rate, and 2, it's better for this are just general analytics. So you want to have 5 different messages. So an example would be a slight variation. So like, hey, name, this is John, this is Adam, and something like that, right? And just having different messages is going to keep things interesting, and you're going to see which messages are going to respond the most just through just pure analytics. And then it's also great for your delivery rate because not every message is being sent the same exact way. So, but yeah, we recommend 5. If you're a superstar, 10. We've seen people with 10 plus messages pretty frequently, the guys that are really doing those deals here.
So would the messages like, would they sort of rotate like with each, is it a way we click them and then they would sort of rotate each time, or? Yep,
Virginia, you're crushing it with the questions. I love it. I love it. Yep. So the way it would work is like this, right? So you send a campaign. Yeah, you gotta use a different account here. Give me a second. Okay. All right, so the system is now fully compliant with the TCPA. So with that, you have to click between each text message. So in this example, you have the message. So, hey, Mark, notice your property at this property you consider selling, right? So you're going to click through, see how quickly I'm going through. And then in the middle of it, we can change the message. So if you watch a tutorial video, you wouldn't have seen this because this is a pretty new feature we came up with in the last few weeks. But essentially, yes, you can switch the message in the middle simply.
Okay, well, that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and then here you've got some account metrics. You can see, what's been sent, what hasn't been sent, all that. Yeah, so you can just filter right here. But we really recommend using different ones. I mean, the carriers are always cracking down. I mean, we have by far the best delivery algorithm in the market, but still, every little bit helps. So if you have a list of 100 and you send 50 with one message and 50 with another message, it's still going to make your delivery rate even higher. So we definitely suggest using that. And then once you're done, this is also another thing. The messages all send once you're done. So once you get to 438, once you've clicked through all of them, it'd probably take you a minute here to go through all of them. Then it's going to schedule it and send it in the order that you set. If for some reason you are somebody that doesn't want to do this feature of the clicking through the messages, we have a lot of people that use this platform. And the reason for this is because it basically ensures that you're 100% compliant with the Telephone Communication Protections Act. So in case anything were to happen or anybody were to come after you, you're using a compliant platform by using this. We've had our attorneys look at it. We've had multiple attorneys take a look at this, and this is fully compliant with the law. We have not had to date, knock on wood, we haven't had it to date with hundreds of users, never one issue. But if for some reason you wanted something that was a one-click push and go, just contact us at support and we can arrange something for you. So if you didn't want to go through this process of clicking, just contact us and we can set something up for you that would be an alternate solution for you. Just one click and you send all the leads out. So we do have an option for that as well. Okay, so with that, Oh, real
I
quick.
have a question.
Yeah.
I have seen some customers that want to schedule the campaign for, let's say, for example, tomorrow. And they click in the bottom, send campaign, but actually they just go out of the page. They don't finish to clicking all the send now. What's gonna happen?
Yeah, it'll resume. So here, it'll pick up where you left off.
But no one of those messages have been sent.
Yeah, none of those messages are sent until all this is clicked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another question on this. Let's just say you wanted to pause your campaign. So once you pause it, does it sort of resumes right where it stops, is what you're saying?
Yeah, good question. So in this example, let's say I have a scheduled campaign. So let me just upload a smaller list and show you an example of how that would look. So let's say we were to schedule it for okay, so now this campaign is scheduled. I can go in the edit campaign, and this will just pause it. I can just hit pause. Now it's been successfully paused. And then if I want, I can resume it. Then if I resume, it'll just pick up off the next date. So next scheduled is right here. So this will show me the next scheduled message.
Well, would it resume into the next day? If let's just say I needed to take an hour, stop, and then I pause the campaign. So it would not resume the same day, or it would require an additional day.
Yeah, it would resume at the scheduled, whatever you scheduled it at in the initial campaign.
Cool.
Okay. In the message, another important thing is when you're creating your message, this is really important. I didn't go over this earlier, but please just refrain from using your domain. So, anything like www.webuyhouses.com, stuff like that. Just don't do it because, the phone carriers do look for that kind of thing, and it's going to reduce your delivery rate. Any kind of phone numbers. So if you have a phone number or anything like that, it's going to reduce your delivery rate. We have forwarding features as well into the platform. So just some things to be cautious of as well. Here in the messenger screen, you have a CRM built in. What people really like is the CRM aspect of the system. So here you have all your different grade classifications. And in this section, you can actually create custom grades. So here you have all of these grades. You can rename them to whatever you want. So if you want to just rename it, hot lead, great prospect, bad prospect, you can rename it here. And it's going to show up in this section. And then from here, you can export them, you can sort, you can filter, send them to a folder. It's very pliable. It's very, very pliable for you. Here also you have custom folders. You can drag and drop into a folder right here. So it's some additional functionality. Next is going to be your macros. So Danielle is going to send you guys the sheet that we use of the best macro responses. So whether you're sending out the responses or one of your, a VA or something, we have these preset macros. So if somebody says, "Who are you? How'd you get my number?" You have the same custom response right here built in. So simply here, click the M button, and then it's just going to input that text into the field.
So now, do we have to, when she sends it to us, we would need to upload that into our onto our platform, or is it already somewhere on this platform or on our platform already?
Yeah, so you would create it. So
Okay.
we give you the text, and then you would create the macros with the system. Yeah. So you just go right here, and then upload the text that you want to create.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, and then when you're messaging with your customers, obviously you really want to be careful with giving out your personal information. So I wouldn't suggest giving out your personal information until you're comfortable with the client and you've built a relationship with them. So, and then lastly, just remembering this is a numbers game. The more messages you send, the higher the success is going to be. So just don't give up easily. It's really a numbers game. And in terms of just general things, we have we have customer support right here. So if you guys have any support questions, everything's here. And we have a Facebook group if you haven't joined that already. Danielle will put that link into the comment section, and you guys can join that as well.
And you're gonna see only if you receive responses.
Okay. Okay. So
in the messenger. So in the messenger, if you want to see the reporting, like delivery rate, everything, it's in reporting.
Yeah. So Virginia, was your question answered? I heard Daniela was jumping on. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, she told me basically to sort of see what works and, trial and error, try different strategies.
Gotcha. Cool. Good. All right. So in terms of now sales, kind of going through the sales side of things, your personal message is going to be key. Really encourage you guys to not be robotic. So when people are messaging you back, what we found is when people say, "Hey, like, I want to buy your house for $80,000," like really direct to the point. That works, but don't be overly robotic. Like, have some kind of personality, be fun, engage them, engage the client, be personal. We also encourage taking good notes. So good notes is going to be key, right? So when you're building a relationship with somebody, usually it's not the first time that they're right away, the very first day they're going to sell you their house, right? Sometimes you have to follow up a little bit. So let's say you talk with Christina, this client, you had a conversation. You want to take some good conversation notes. So talk with seller, she is moving, and something maybe personal you guys talked about. Maybe she has, like a dog or something, like a dog named Spot or something. Okay? Just anything that you guys can create that's rapport building. And now the next time that you talk with her, you can bring up things from the prior conversation. So let's say you talk with her again on the 20th, followed up. She is motivated, and then you built a rapport, and then you can bring up things from the past conversations. Like, hey, how's Spot doing? How's your dog doing? Or how's the move going? And now you've got some more rapport, and the more rapport you build, the more likely you're going to close that deal, the more likely they're going to want to do business with you. So just really important to put some good notes in here. If you have Podio, I'm not sure if any of you guys are using Podio, but you can export your notes and all of your seller's information right to Podio directly from here. So all your notes, boom, one shot, it'll go right to Podio. So very important here as well. Your follow-up calendar, definitely recommend using this as well, because let's say with Christina, you say you're going to follow up on the 15th, and it will show up right here. There you've got the lead, or you can see a daily view of all the leads you have, and you just simply click it and it'll take you to the conversation.
Now you said you can export to Podio. Is that like a really simple thing or is that something we have to integrate? Or
yeah,
I have like the basic Podio,
Yeah, no, for sure. We have a recording on it. It's really,
okay.
I promise, it's super easy.
Okay.
I'll guide you step by step on how to do that. Let me see if we can. Daniela, can you go on YouTube and get the training video for that and put it in the notes here?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, and then we have a really good YouTube directory of users that have been doing really well with this. So, you know, I know there's a good one with Alex Jandik that I did. That he's crushing it, and he makes a lot of money on this system. He's been doing really well. So he shares his strategy. Another one with Manny Cash that I did on sales strategy, where I basically take the biggest experts on this stuff. I get them and I sit them down and figure out exactly what they do on a day-to-day basis to close deals. So we've got a good collection. So
What's that,
you know,
what's that guy's name again?
The two that I would recommend, the best two that I did, I would say were with Alex Jandik and Manny Cash are the two Smarter Contact videos that I'd recommend.
I think I saw the one with Manny. That's on house buying, like down in Houston or something.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's a sales master. He's really good on the sales side. So yeah, he's got that side of it pretty well down. And then another thing on the sales channel, you know, remembering that not every deal is a wholesale deal. You know, not everybody wants to sell you their house for, you know, 40% off at a cash terms. Maybe they want to sell sub-2 or owner financing.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people use this system for that. Maybe somebody wants to, you know, sell their house for premium. Let's say Christina. Yeah. Maybe the house is worth $220,000. This could be a great realtor lead. So having different channels built within Smarter Contact that you can monetize. So that's pretty much it, guys. And then the last thing that I can't stress enough is our skip tracing is going to just blow everything out in the water, because you're going to be able to pull out your landlines. It's going to tell you which ones are mobile, which ones are landline, and it's 15 cents a hit. So it's really affordable. That comes out this week. So we're really excited for that to come out. And then, yeah, join us on our Facebook page. We have tons of content on there all the time. We always have people engaging. You can learn from people across the country that are using the platform. So we definitely suggest that as well. And yeah, we're here to help. So our support team is always here. So if you guys have any questions, just ping us right here through the support chat, and we'd be happy to help you out.
In regards to the skip tracing, will the leads come back, the phone numbers come back right away, or will that take a day? Or
yeah, it's about 5 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty quick. Yeah, and the big thing that this is going to be huge, because this is texting. You're doing texting. You don't want to text landlines. So it's just going to save you a lot of time, energy, and headache.
Okay. And last question. Can you recommend any markets?
Can I recommend any markets? That's a good question. Well, I look at it like this, right? I mean, I've been I've been flipping houses for a while. What's your strategy? Are you wholesaling, or what? What's your goal?
Wholesaling.
Just wholesaling, right? So, you know, ideally somewhere with the most amount of cash buyers, you know, high cash buyers. I mean, even if you go, you know, I've had this perceived idea of, you know, market saturation, that kind of thing, but it's all bullcrap. I mean, there's so many homeowners that just aren't being touched across the country. Anywhere that's a major market, but like not a major city, I wouldn't start somewhere like a Miami or something like that, where it's a primary tier A city, because there's just so much activity. But maybe like a tier B city. That's how I would analyze that. And just pick a couple markets where you feel like maybe the prices aren't crazy and there's a good amount of cash buyer, somewhere where it's not too cheap. Because if you go too cheap, then your wholesale margins are going to be really skinny. So I wouldn't want to go somewhere where the average, purchase price is like, 60 grand or something, because then, even if you flip it, it's not going to be worth the squeeze. I'd want to go somewhere where the prices are somewhere in between, maybe Midwest, maybe, Central of America to Midwest, West Coast somewhere, where the margins are going to be a little bit higher because the prices are higher, but not overly high, because then they're going to be really educated and want to go retail with everything.
Right.
So It's my 2 cents. I'd go somewhere in the Midwest, just not Phoenix, because that's a really crazy market. I wouldn't do Phoenix, but anywhere besides Phoenix, I'd do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, what is your thoughts on, like, if you want to get into some creative financing, like the sub 2, like creative deals or something like that? Is it basically the same? You're just looking at different, like you would pull your list a little bit differently?
Yeah, I mean, it's in terms of the list itself, there's different, lists you can pull. So I'm not really sure on what list would be most motivated for that. There are specific details. I do have a good training I did with a guy named Brad Pickett, who has done hundreds of these deals. He's done tons of this. So I would encourage you to watch that episode, because he breaks down the subject to and seller finance game pretty well.
Okay. This has been very helpful.
Awesome. Well, hope to hear that you guys are closing some big checks now in the next couple of weeks. Oh, awesome. Well, thanks for your time, guys. I appreciate you guys joining in, and yeah, we're here to support you.
Okay. And I was my VA was supposed to be online, but I think that she maybe got tied up and she wasn't able to make it. So she'll try to do it maybe next week then.
Yeah, this will be recorded. So I'll send you the recording after.
That'd be awesome. Thank you.